there, welcome to Nurtured Kitchen. Tonight for dinner we're just having cinnamon roll pancakes. I know we had those last week and they were a big hit. So we are making them again, and to go with that I'm just taking breakfast sausage, shaping them into patties and frying them up. So we will have cinnamon roll pancakes with sausage patties for supper tonight. Simple and easy and delicious. So what I am whisking up right here is 2 eggs with 2 cups of milk and 4 tablespoons of melted shortening. And I whisk that all together. To that, I am adding 2 cups of just regular all-purpose flour, 2 tablespoons of sugar, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1 teaspoon of salt. I just mix all that up and I will set that aside while I make the cinnamon roll glaze that goes on top of the pancakes. For this glaze, I just take a half a stick of butter, or 4 tablespoons, melt it, and then add 1/4 cup of brown sugar, and just mix it all together and set aside. When I am ready to start assembling everything, I will put this glaze inside of a sandwich bag, and I just cut a little bit off of the corner of the sandwich bag just so I have a hole big enough to drizzle that glaze onto the pancakes. And here I am just cutting that tube in half because I did not need all of that breakfast sausage for this dinner tonight. Walmart did not have the smaller tubes, so right here I am just cutting it open and I will form them into sausage patties, whatever shape that you want them in. We just did ours in thinner sausage patties, which worked just fine for us, and just cook those until they are done. I was not able to record me drizzling the glaze onto the pancakes, but I did get a final video of when everything was done. morning and welcome to this Monday morning. I was just getting coffee going and starting my day. I had to finish my menu and finalize my grocery list so I could go grocery shopping this day. And yeah, nothing too exciting. I was talking to Scarlett this morning. She's my early riser and she always has been. You see she's still in her pajamas, not because she just woke up, but because they had pajama day at school this day. So she was having hot chocolate and I was having coffee. And normal mornings we will sit and chit chat for a little while before Axel wakes up, or we will just sit and cuddle for a little while in the mornings. That's usually what we like to do. But I think it was close to wake up time at this time, so we just had a little conversation in the kitchen that morning. I asked her what she wanted for breakfast, and she decided she wanted to try my pumpkin chocolate chip bread I made the other day, which really surprised me because normally she's not one for trying new things, but she really enjoyed it though. She said she wanted 2 pieces, but she only ate 1, which was fine because Axel ate the other piece. And she also asked me for a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for breakfast too. She loves peanut butter and jelly, so I made her this sandwich and she ate the sandwich and she ate one of the pieces of the pumpkin chocolate chip bread. So last summer, I was not able to pick enough blackberries to preserve. We just picked enough for fresh eating on those days. But this summer, that is one of my goals, is to pick enough blackberries to preserve. So we have fresh blackberry jam when blackberries are no longer in season. And I wanted fried potatoes with scrambled eggs this morning. So I'm just using a can of my home canned potatoes that I preserved this past summer. And this is about the only way that I use these canned potatoes, just to use them up, because we don't care for the taste of them or the texture of them when they are mashed. So this is how we have been using them up, just doing fried potatoes for breakfast in the morning. So I'm just cutting them up into smaller chunks because when I canned them in bigger chunks. Otherwise they would get pretty mushy in the canner. So I just take them out and rinse them and cut them up into smaller chunks before I fry them up for breakfast. While I was doing that, Axel and Scarlett were just getting ready for school and we were waiting until the time that we had to leave. So we were just talking in the kitchen while I was making breakfast. And I always save my bacon grease because I like to use that as the cooking fat for a lot of things, especially fried potatoes and eggs and a lot of other stuff. It gives it really good flavor. And once that's melted, I will pour my potatoes into the pan and season them with whatever you like. I switch it up sometimes. Like today I used black pepper and seasoned salt, but on other days I will use pepper and Mrs. Dash original seasoning. It all depends what we're feeling for seasoning for that day. And I will cook these up and put them on a separate plate, and then I will cook my eggs in that same pan. Then once the eggs are done, I just pour the potatoes back in, and that is how we eat it. And Scarlett always likes to crack the eggs and really help me with anything in the kitchen. She's my big helper in the kitchen. Axel is not a big fan of helping in the kitchen. Sometimes he will, but generally it's usually Scarlett. So she always likes to whisk my eggs and make my eggs for me. which is super helpful, especially if I have other things that I need to do in the kitchen. So remember how I said that it was pajama day at school this day? Well, Axel really wanted to wear his Pikachu shirt that he had, but it was a couple sizes too small on him. So I just had him go and put a different shirt on to go with his pants. But here's what breakfast was. We just had potatoes and a piece of pumpkin chocolate chip bread. And this was that same morning, and it was snowing and it was cold. And I think we got 3 to 4 inches of snow in total this day. But that is my snowed in garden. And I can't wait until it is green and beautiful again. On this night for dinner, we had what we call garlic bread pizza. And all this is store-bought frozen garlic toast. And we will toast this in the oven until it is almost done. And then we add pepperoni on some of them, and other ones we just make cheese. And we don't put sauce on them because we did try that the first time we made them, but then they became soggy. So now we just put the pepperoni and cheese on them and bake them just until the cheese is melted. And we will dip them in pizza sauce, and that is how we eat them. And unfortunately, I did not get a video or a picture of the done product because everybody was super hungry, so we just took it out of the oven and ate right away. But as long as the cheese is melted and the garlic bread is toasted like you like it, then there is nothing else to it. On this night, we were doing a different take on meatball subs. Generally, when you think of meatball subs, you think of meatballs with like a marinara or a pasta sauce. But we wanted to try meatball subs a different way. So usually we will make what we call meatballs and gravy and eat them either over noodles or mashed potatoes. But on this night, we wanted to try them in sub form. So we made the meatballs and the gravy, and instead of eating them over noodles or mashed potatoes, we made them into meatball subs. And here I was just making the dough for the sub buns. And I just use the recipe from Jennifer Brockman's cookbook and her channel. If you have not gone to her channel is called A Country Life. And she has a lot of amazing recipes, and I really like her channel, so I get a lot of recipes from her, but you should go over there and go check it out. But I did purchase both of her cookbooks, and she has a recipe for, I think it's called soft sandwich buns. And any buns that I make, whether it be hamburger buns, hot dog buns, we've even used them as dinner rolls. I just use that same recipe and then just shape them into whatever buns or rolls we need for that night. So I was making homemade sub buns for this night. And after it rose, it was just about the time that both the kids got home from school. So I thought it would be fun to let them punch the dough down, and they loved it. So this is what supper turned out to look like this night. I just made buttered noodles for a side, but this was really good and everybody really enjoyed it. Good morning. Tonight for dinner we are having bacon wrapped chicken breast. So right now I am getting ready to take the chicken out. I have to butterfly it and then I will put it in a bag with Italian dressing and let it marinate for a few hours. And when I cook chicken breast, I always cut this white part off. I don't know if that's technically fat or what it is, but I always go through and I trim the chicken anytime that I make chicken breasts. So I'll do that, and then I will butterfly them and put them in. I don't have a big enough like Tupperware container to put the chicken in, so I actually used a empty ice cream pail, and that worked perfect. I got all the chicken mixed up, and now that's gonna go sit in the fridge until supper time tonight, and I have to head out of the house, so we will see you back at dinner time. Hi, I'm back home, and it is currently 1:30. I have the chicken marinating in the fridge yet, and right now I am in the process of making copycat Texas Roadhouse rolls. This is a recipe that I just got off the internet, and I've made it a few times, and they turn out well every time. So right now into this bowl, I have 2.5 cups of milk, 4.5 teaspoons of yeast, and half a cup of honey. I am doubling this recipe, so if you don't want to double it, just cut those measurements in half. But I am getting ready to put everything else into the KitchenAid. So to this, I will add 6 tablespoons of melted butter, 2 eggs, 2 teaspoons of salt, and 8 cups of flour. You can use bread flour, or you can use just all-purpose flour. Today I'm just using all-purpose flour, and it'll work just fine. So once I get this all mixed together, I will put it into my oven with my oven light on, because it is a little chilly in my kitchen, and that will rise for about an hour, and then I will take it out and shape them. And then once I get the dinner rolls onto my pan, I cover those and let those rise for about 30 to 45 minutes, and then bake them for 15. So I am just getting those ready, so those are ready for dinner tonight. And here is that recipe that I use if you want to pause and take a screenshot of it. I used to use my bread machine, and then my bread machine broke, so I am back to using my KitchenAid. So once this rose for about an hour, I punch it down and I'll roll it out, and then you fold it in half, pinch the seams together, and cut it in half, and then you cut it into whatever size pieces you would want for dinner rolls. But remember, they're going to rise, so even if they're small, they still are perfect size. But this is what they look like when they were done. So last night I was not actually able to record dinner. We ended up having the bacon wrapped chicken breast, and it turned out good, but I grilled the chicken until it was almost done, and then I brought it back in the house and we wrapped it in bacon, and I went to go grill again. Well, the grease from the bacon, and I did not have the chicken set up the right way on the grill. I should have only been using 2 burners. That way, if it did somewhat get out of hand, I was able to move it. I had to have my husband come out there and help me, and needless to say, the bacon got really burnt on some of them. So I brought it back in, and I kind of took the burnt pieces off, and I ended up finishing the cooking in my air fryer. So it did work out good. It's just a mishap, and now I know for future reference. But we ended up just doing the chicken breast with the dinner rolls, and that was our supper last night, which was just fine. But next time I know to not use all 4 burners on the grill, just in case that were to happen again. So you live and you learn. Good morning. So tonight for dinner, we are having round steak with mashed potatoes and either green beans or carrots. I decided to do this crockpot meal today because later on today, both of my kids have a dentist appointment, so we'll be away from the house for quite a few hours. That will cook in the crockpot all day until we're ready to eat supper. Hi, and welcome back to Nurtured Kitchen. I am just getting around to checking in today. It is almost 1 o'clock, and so for breakfast this morning, we just had some cereal. That's all the kids wanted for breakfast. For dinner tonight, we're doing brats and hot dogs on the grill, and then just probably some macaroni and cheese on the side. I have the brats and hot dogs thawing out, and I also have yeast proofing in here with a little bit of milk and sugar. So I am making the recipe out of Jennifer Brockman's cookbook. And this is what the rolls look like. I just rolled them up into hot dog or bun shapes, let them rise for about a half hour, and then baked them. And this was our dinner for tonight. And for a sweet treat tonight, I wanted to try making homemade kettle corn, and it worked out good. It just didn't work out exactly like I thought it was going to, but it was fine. But this is the end of the video, so thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!